Hello, good morning, good evening, sports spectators. My friend Juan, episode 16. What's good, man? How you doing? Good afternoon.
What's up, John? What's up to everyone? Doing pretty well, man. I know I am having a lot better weather than you are. We are working a little more remote today. I am still back in HQ in sunny Miami. It is currently 83 and sunny. I know, John, where you're at, weather's not quite as nice. A little bit cold. You're out upstate in New York. How's it going
Long
over there?
Island, New
Pretty cold?
York. Can't you
Long
can't
Island.
put can't put me down to that level like that. Long Island, New York.
Long Island. Oh, dude, yeah, my bad.
Strong
I
Island.
strong. Yeah, Gaines Island.
Gaines
Damn.
Island. Yeah, man, I'm up here. It's cold. I'm in my childhood room. You can see my background. Very Alabama gear and yeah, actually nothing that cool to show. But it's chilly up here. I got my sweater on, my Peruvian llama sweater. But yeah, I'm chilling, man. And and even better news, we got the conference championship games on right now. Some big trusts. Baltimore Ravens versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I figured out I had my calling. I had God send his message through the universe to me, and I have my Super Bowl championship. I bet all my money. I've got mine picked out. What about you, Juan? How are you feeling right now with this these games?
I'm feeling still pretty good. I got money on the Ravens today. Granted, that might not look as smart right now considering the Chiefs just scored. But
Really?
I still got all my faith in the Ravens. Lamar Jackson obviously going to win the MVP. I think they're still going to come out on top. So to answer your question, John, my Super Bowl pick, I still got Ravens. And realistically, I think it's going to be Ravens 49ers. But what I would hope in my deepest of thoughts is that it would actually be Ravens Detroit. I think that would actually be
Yeah.
a way cooler Super Bowl. But I think realistically it's going to end up being Ravens 49ers. I just hope it does not end up being 49ers Chiefs. That's probably the only one. That's my
Yeah.
pick at least.
That was my God's calling is that I just had an epiphany and it was like 49ers to win it all. I texted my boy Joe and I put my money on the Chiefs to cover. Sorry, excuse me. Oh no. Is that God coming through my brain and just putting reality out? I might
Yeah.
have to take the Chiefs now. But I took the the 49ers to cover against the Lions and then the 49ers to win the Super Bowl. So that's
I
how I'm
like
riding
that.
right now. I don't like it though. I didn't like it. I was like, I hate this bet. I hate the 49ers, but I was like, this is just what God told me. So I gotta
Well,
just gotta do it.
that's one of those bets that on paper someone might be like, why would you ever pick this? But then when it ends up coming true, you're gonna end up looking like the smartest guy in the room. So I think that was a great bet at the end of the day. And I think it will
Thank you.
cash, if I'm being
Yeah.
honest.
I was
Yeah.
just like Christian McCaffrey and Brock Purdy are just like too much of an American story to lose this Super Bowl this time. They've been so close so often. I'm just like, this is it. This is it. Excuse me, not me. That's what God said. So
The powers that be, the powers that be. So clearly,
yeah,
clearly, God, Jesus didn't grow up in Nazareth. He actually grew up in Santa Monica, California, as opposed to what anything said in history. So there's a fun
exactly.
fact. I bet you guys didn't think you were going to get talk on the scriptures and what actually happened in this podcast. Now you know.
John 5:13 Proverbs. Just kidding. Um, so well, speaking of God, actually, how don't we bring it over to Saudi Arabia for the Inter Miami preseason games? I feel like not a lot of people have been following this, but it is a pretty big deal. It is preseason, but anytime they get Ronaldo and Messi together, it's big news. So Inter Miami is playing against Al Hilal on Monday, January 29th, which is Neymar's team. He's out injured, but there's some other superstars there. And then Inter Miami will take on Al Nassr on Thursday, February 1st, which is Ronaldo's team. Now, the storyline here is that Ronaldo and Al Nassr actually canceled their China tour from an injury. So there's a little bit of suspense on if Ronaldo is going to play versus Messi. I think he will. I think these Saudi Arabian teams are like, this is so big of a game for us that like I don't care if your leg's falling off, you're going to take the ball and kick it at least for 5 minutes. Now, this brings up another thing. There's been a lot of kind of like sports things happening with China where like teams are pulling out and like Inter Miami I think was supposed to be playing over there and we canceled those games. Ronaldo came back because of an injury. What if all these sports teams are canceling because geopolitics is actually the equivalent of NFL script writing and World War III is breaking out and we just don't have the
Oh,
script.
Man, that is a scorching hot take. But to your point, I could definitely see that, and technically in history, like events happening outside of sports have affected it. For example, there was a big impact in the NFL during World War II. I think there was actually one year where the NFL actually couldn't even have a draft because everyone else was actually getting drafted by the military. Um,
Wow.
which actually makes me think, like, how crazy would it be that when we eventually get drafted for World War III, they actually start doing it like NFL style, where literally like the president at the time comes up and it's like, with the first pick in the World War III draft, the
Dude, that's
U.S.
brilliant. Dude, you just gave them an idea. Joe Biden's gonna be like up there, like
Yeah,
and
literally, like with the
you
first,
get drafted to the best teams. You're going spec ops, you're going airborne, you're
yeah, and it's just like with the first overall pick, Marine Select, John Lasek, Alabama infantry.
That's legendary. Oh my God. Honestly, and I was thinking about this is not good for us, but I could also imagine them like increasing the age of drafting, right? Because wasn't it like if you were like going into college like between 18 and 23, but now since like the time expect life expectancy has increased, I hope that we're not included in it. I have to like break my leg or something to get out of a draft.
Dude, all I know is I got to be honest, realistically, I don't know how well I would do on a battlefield. Like, like fantasy football already puts me under enough tension. I don't know if I could survive out in the trenches. Like, if I'm being if I'm being 100% honest, like
Ah,
like I am three and out when it comes to probably a battlefield. If I'm being real, like I am not making it to a first down. If I'm being
yeah.
honest,
Wow.
so
That is a beautiful segment. I think I could go down the rabbit hole like for an hour on this subject, truthfully. But
we could
all I have to
we
say,
could.
Cristiano Ronaldo is the what's the word? The bird in the coal mine for World War III. That's our take
I
in
could see
Saudi
that.
Arabian football.
I could see that. Well, just another reason why this podcast is going to get blacklisted and get put on some type of watch list. I mean, how many
Or
how
we
many?
just created the most American military draft system ever. That would be epic. I mean, that would actually make people probably more excited. Like, yeah, look at me, mom, I'm on TV. It's like, oh, you're going to Taiwan.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah. So
on
so
that
U.S.
note,
Yeah, U.S. military. If you take this idea, we expect at least some sort of royalty or at least some sort of draft exemption, if nothing
yeah,
else. So.
draft exception and maybe let us cover it. We can call it the
Mhm.
Sports Spectator U.S. Military Draft 2025.
Dude, imagining just us commenting live like on the battlefield. It's just like, well, John, this is an interesting strategy that they're using. So they're pushing out all of the shortest guys out into the infantry. Like, what do we think? It's just like, well, that's probably won't be a really good play, but we'll stick around and see the results. Oh, they all just got slaughtered. Well, there it is. And now, Taiwan has the lead. We'll see how the U.S. responds.
The Short King's narrative comes to an end.
Yeah, that was sad.
Speaking of Short King narratives coming to an end, the Miami Heat are dog shit right now. 6 losses in a row on. What is going on?
You know what, man? I feel like the answer that the listeners would expect me to say would be, that I'm in hell, that I'm impressed, and all these other very dramatic responses. But real Heat fans, we've been here before. This is not new, and it's right on schedule. If anything, I always feel like right before the All Star break, we always go on this awkward slump, and I think that's all part of Eric Spoelstra's strategy. To be quite honest with you, so I'm not worried. I feel like this happens, and in the NBA, realistically, every team goes through some weird slump where they just go kind of cold for a while. But I think they'll figure it out. The hottest take that I have, if anything, is that this really proves that Jaime Jaquez, who's been injured now, I think since the Atlanta game when we had the UD jersey retirement, he really is critical to this team, man. I mean, clearly he hasn't been on the field, and this has been a completely different team. I mean, this rookie clearly is the catalyst for the Miami Heat. So that's probably the biggest takeaway of this. But to answer your question, I'm feeling fine. I think we'll be fine. Hero's fine. We're starting to get healthy again. It's gonna be fine. But here's an even better roster update that I'm more excited. And just to touch on some recent news, Kyle Lowry finally gone. finally off this team. Praise God, praise Allah. Like, oh my goodness, I've been begging for this. In fact, I actually tweeted, I think almost a year to the date when he got traded, that I said I woke up that day and I say it's a beautiful day to trade Kyle Lowry. So it was about a year early on that take, but finally he's gone. So for those who haven't heard, the biggest news in Miami Heat roster in terms of updates has been this past week we traded a 2027 protected first round pick as well as Kyle Lowry to the Charlotte Hornets to receive Terry Rozier, aka Scary Terry. So for anyone who doesn't know the history, he originally went to Boston when he was drafted, and he was really really big over there. So I'm actually seeing a little bit what the script writers are doing. We're getting a former Celtics legend onto the Heat. So eventually, when we play them in the Eastern Conference Finals, I bet you Terry's going to be the one to hit a dagger and just like eliminate them once again. And that's probably going to be the most beautiful thing. In my opinion, there's nothing tastier than New England tears. So I'm super excited for it. And I mean, Terry has now added, and I actually didn't know this. I read this stat earlier this week and I thought this was bonkers. But with Terry being on the team, we are actually the only team in the NBA with four individuals that are averaging 20 points or more per game. No other
Wow.
team in the league has more than two. So before we got
Wow.
Terry, we actually had three, and now we have four. So that's crazy, man. I feel like this backcourt now that we have, it's going to be a difference, and I think we're finally getting like a playmaker. And come playoff times, I think he's really going to be making a difference. So all that to say that anyone out there who was calling Pat Riley washed, that he couldn't make any moves, now we see the difference, and he's still very much alive. He's still very much making moves, bro. But yeah, man, I definitely answered your question and a really, really crazy tangent, but I'm not worried. This is right on schedule, right on par with Miami Heat basketball.
Two things. Is Terry the kind of player that will be able to kind of like swap minutes with Jimmy, or is he a different kind of player than him?
I think you know what? That's actually a great question. I think right now, no, but he's a guy's guy. He's a dog. Like he will be a guy that will step up if
Wherever he
needed,
needs to.
wherever he needs
Yeah.
to be. He's a playmaker. He's a scorer. He plays aggressive. He plays gritty basketball. So I think he is a guy that can step up. And my one take with anything in sports is just like, to me, I'm a person that believes I don't think stats matter at the end of the day. I think it matters that you're stepping up in the moments that matter the most. Again, you can be cold, you can suck all regular season, but come playoff time, like you're stepping up in the moments that matter the most. That's all that matters to me. Jimmy is a perfect example of that, in that all through the regular season, he puts up whatever numbers. He doesn't exert a lot of energy during the regular season, but in the playoffs, again, when it matters the most, that's when he steps up. And I think Scary Terry is a guy that will do the same. So I have full faith in him. And again, Eric Spoelstra, we've already seen top 5 coach in the league. He's going to develop him and he's going to turn him into an absolute weapon. So if he
Yeah.
was being known as Scary Terry before, I mean, the nickname that he's going to have moving forward is, I don't know, Terrible Terry, something like that. Just he's going to be scaring the league for the rest of the season. So I'm really, really, really happy with the move. Yeah, man.
Nice. Cool, man. Well, do we move over to the Miami Dolphins now?
Oh boy, I didn't want to talk about them, and it's crazy
I'm
that
kind of excited about it, dude. Honestly, I feel optimistic.
this one's tough, man, because it's really crazy that somehow even after we've been eliminated from playoff contention, we're still making these headlines, and not necessarily for the best reasons. But yeah, to your point, we got to talk about them a little bit. So yeah, in case anyone hasn't heard, the big news there is that we recently released our defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio. Which to me was a surprising news. I think even John, when you texted me about it, you wanted to make a post about it on the page, and it was crazy. I wasn't even aware of the news at the time, so it caught me by surprise. Probably not the best thing for me to say, because I feel like I should be an individual that knows that when it happens. But whatever. I was very
I'm
surprised.
addicted to social media, so it's okay.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, it's a problem.
um, Yeah, man. So Vic Fangio officially got let go. My understanding is that it was mutual. Apparently, the Dolphins didn't want to keep him around. And I mean, that's definitely not surprising. If we saw the defensive schemes that were occurring towards the end of the season, I don't know what this guy was doing, bro. Like that guy wanted to leave so bad. I think he didn't even want to make it further into the playoffs because he's just like, yo, I just want to get eliminated and I just want to leave this team. And apparently, the rumors that are going around is that he will actually be going to the Eagles to take some. I'm assuming to be their defensive coordinator.
I'm
It
pretty
could
sure
be
it's
some.
done already. I think it's a done deal. I think he's there.
Well, there you have it, and that's apparently where he wanted to go from the very beginning. But yeah, man, it's sad to see because I very much recall when we got him when we were interviewing him prior to the start of the 2023 season. I was super hyped and I thought that our defense was going to be electric. So very disappointed that towards the second half of the season, because during the first half the defense was awesome, but then something happened during the second half of the season that just made the guy, not want to stay there. So he just stopped trying. I'm almost curious. Maybe he saw a couple Hard Knocks episodes and he's just like, bro, this team is corny as hell. Something along those lines. And that's what made him want to leave. So it sucks, bro. But it is what it is. I mean, got to keep going forward. But John, I'm curious to ask you, like, do you have anyone that you can think of that would be a good replacement for Fangio? Because I have a couple
Yeah,
ideas, but I'm curious what you think.
my first one that comes out. I mean, it's an obvious rumor that's happened. I think we already interviewed him, but Brandon Staley, I think that's a great match. Just because. So I have a bigger take for this. So Brandon Staley is the ex Chargers head coach, defensive mind, but just didn't end up working out over there. I was watching, all the football content on TV today with the conference championship games, and they were talking about Bill Belichick and how he's such a figure and like such an enigma, but like he's kind of like separated from where the culture of the game is now. The players, like everyone's very individualistic and the social media and stuff. And it's like everyone still wants to be coached, but they're more open with their personality and everything about them. And so it's harder for these older coaches to blend and accept that. And I think that's one of the things with Vic Fangio, where Mike McDaniel is so open and emotional and connections and like very fluid, whereas Vic Fangio is, like a Bill Belichick kind of guy, I would imagine, where
Mm-hmm.
very to the point. And you heard these stories where it's like these offensive players, like some people hated him. They're like, I can't stand this guy. Jalen Ramsey, I think, was one of them. Um, and I think Brandon Staley, just by simply being younger and kind of being humbled, for lack of a better term, literally, like he lost Mike McDaniel.
Mm-hmm.
He has the ability to change, and he might already be kind of like open to that sort of connection. Where I think he's clearly got a great defensive mind, and I think he could come in and really work well with Mike McDaniel's system. Being young and connecting, like he was the DC of the Rams when they won the Super Bowl, I think. He's
Mm-hmm.
mentored Aaron Donald, like, and that's another rumor that I like that comes along with it is Aaron Donald to Miami, which would be crazy. Lose Christian Wilkin, get Aaron Donald. I mean, sounds good to me. What about you?
Dude, that is a hot one, and I definitely want to piggyback on the point that you made that it's an interesting trend, and that is definitely not one that I thought about just the simple gap in ages and just the differences in personalities. Yeah, because Vic Fangio, he's definitely a much older generation. He kind of comes from that old school style of football where, again, there's no being personable. There's probably not as much emphasis on connecting with your players and actually being friends with them. It's just like, hey, showing up and doing your job.
Yeah,
So obviously two very different personalities, and I got to be honest, that is definitely not something that I attributed to the Dolphins and him parting ways. But now it is definitely something that I'm very much believing. So yep, I could see that. So to your point, Brandon Staley, him being much more of a player's guy, younger, more enigmatic, more energetic. Um, yeah, dude, I could see that. But here's a thought that I think I'm actually a big believer that we might actually get Rabel as our
I like
defensive
that too.
coordinator. I would love that. I mean, the guy, I have nothing but respect for him. Legend on and off the field at this point. Bro, and I mean, he spanked us. He was basically the reason why the Dolphins ended up in the position that we're at because it was losing to Tennessee, which is why Week 18 against the Bills ended up having to be being played for the division was because of that loss. He obviously figured out a way to come back against us. He's very defensive minded. I mean, he figured out how to make Ryan Tannehill look decent, which I don't think anyone else has done. But obviously, he would come in for the defensive coordinator position. All of that to say is that he knows what he's doing. So it's personally my pick on who I would like to get. But you know who might actually be, I want to say, two bit of dark horses. And this is just complete rumors. There is nothing backing this up. But imagine if somehow we got like Belichick and Nick Saban. to come to the Dolphins
Yeah,
organization.
that'd be nuts.
How
That'd
crazy
be
would that
nuts.
be? Yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like, what is gonna happen? I don't think Nick Saban would work as much because I think he is like completely committed to Bama, like being there this season and just kind of enjoying himself, quote unquote. But Belichick's an interesting one because I don't think he's gonna get a head coaching job. And it's like if he doesn't, what does he do? Does he take a year off? Does he go to Alabama? I've actually been thinking about that with him going to Alabama too, as like a an analyst or something. But
that
does he take a DC job? I don't know, man. It's interesting.
it is very interesting because having been a head coach for again over 2 decades at this point is like, do you take that demotion, kind of take a little bit more of a backseat towards the team? Would that be interesting? And I have seen zero rumors backing this up, but I'm officially starting that narrative. So we are calling it Bill Belichick to the Dolphins as a defensive coordinator. Most likely won't come true, but if it does come true, again, we're going to look like the smartest guys in the room for calling that. So why not? Might as
Dude,
well put that out into the universe.
so speaking of Bill Belichick and how we're talking about Vic Fangio, first of all, you have to just do a Google of Mike McDaniel and Vic Fangio. And like just a picture of them standing next to each other is just like it's so bizarre. They're just such different creatures. It'd be the same exact thing with Bill Belichick. I don't think Mike McDaniel could handle another coordinator with like that sort of like mentality. I think he's just like, I can't do this anymore. But I mean, that might be the one person we make the exception for because it's just such a like legend. Um,
That is true, but damn, John, to your point, yeah, I just googled this, and yeah, man, they just look so awkward. It almost looks like
yeah,
Vic Fangio is his son, and like he just discovered a pack of cigarettes under his bed, and he's just like so disappointed. He's just like, oh, I can't believe my kid would be the one doing this.
yes.
Yeah, dude, they look
Uh,
so fucking awkward. Yeah.
but yeah, dude,
So
the Eagles hired Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore. So as a Cowboys fan, that sucks. Um, but as a Cowboys fan, pretty much everything sucks. So whatever, just another notch on the belt.
yeah, dude, that franchise is cursed, bro. Like that's crazy. Like not to deviate away from the Dolphins, but I feel like that's just such a franchise that everyone, like, no one celebrates a loss more than when the Cowboys. And it's crazy to me because the Cowboys obviously haven't won really much since the 90s. It's like you understand why people get mad when Alabama loses, because Alabama has been on such a consistent streak of just like
Yeah,
winning and taking the joy of winning away from others. So that's why people enjoy it. So that at least makes sense. But then it's like Dallas, like they have not been winning. They haven't been taking joy from other people. So it's like a double whammy, that it's like you're having to
yeah,
feel the pain of losing and you're having to feel the pain of other people enjoying your losses. I don't get it. It's crazy to me.
yeah. It's
So
sad. I can tell you from experience. Not nice.
yeah. So yeah, man. So right now we got Brandon Staley, Mike Brable, and a bit of a dark horse with potentially Bill Belichick and Nick Saban. Who knows? Again, I'm starting these rumors right now. I don't care. Crazier things have happened. You never know. It is
Here's
a
a
hot
question for
job,
you on this. Would you rather
D-Man.
have Aaron Donald come to Miami or Derrick Henry?
I'm going to say Aaron Donald, if
I
I'm being
think so
100%
too.
honest. Only because our running back room right now is like, it's pretty good. Like Mostert obviously still has wheels on him. Jeff Wilson has still proven he's still got pretty good wheels, and A Chain obviously he's going to go into his second year, and he's obviously proven that he's pretty solid. Yeah, man, and the running back position, as much as I love Derrick Henry, like he's a stud, but like we've seen that it's a position that gets worn down real quick. So him being now in the league, I think for 6 years at this point, it's
Yeah,
really a
he's our
question of,
age.
yeah, he's our age. Um, at that position, it's like how much utility does he still have? Now, granted, that guy's just absolutely built different. So I'm still a believer that he can. So that'd be a situation where like I'd be fine with getting him with for the right price tag. Whereas I think Aaron
Yeah,
Donald, you get a guy like him, like he's an instant difference maker. To be quite
bro.
honest with you,
Imagine playing running back in the NFL with our bodies right now.
dude, I would die. That's actually like John for $100 million. Do you think, like, what do you think would be easier, getting a first down against an NFL team, or making a 3-pointer against an NBA team? Like, what do you think would be easier?
Well, how far away is a three-pointer?
Yeah,
Oh,
easy.
sorry, a three-pointer in basketball.
Hmm.
Dude, man, fuck. I would say, dude, that's a really good question. A first down, what, like if someone hands the ball off to you, there's really any way that you could get it, just like get a first down, getting it, receiving or running it.
Yeah, like you could. So you have 4 downs. You still have an NFL O line, like an NFL
Oh,
QB.
dude, I'm going with the NFL first down because,
Really?
like, dude, the NBA people, you're a joke to them. Like, yeah, no chance, bro. I don't think you're getting a shot off, and even if you get a shot off, I feel like that's just getting smacked in your face. Like these dudes are 6'5". I mean, you're tall, but like for me, I mean, yeah, no, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna put my faith in football because I actually feel like I can play. I can't play basketball. I look like I can play, but then I just miss. I'm not a basketball player. I'm a football player. I'll take my chances on the football field. Sacrifice my leg. I'll probably break something in those 4 plays, but
Yeah.
I think I can get it.
I gotta respectfully disagree. I think for me, I'm gonna go with the basketball just because I feel like you can very easily scheme up something where if you're playing with, because this would be under the assumption that you would be like the fifth man in an NBA roster.
Got it.
Like you could definitely scheme something up to just get you wide open, so that way you're just taking an uncontested 3-pointer. Whereas, bro, in an NFL team, like I don't have the strength. Like unless you somehow scheme something where I have like a wide open gash.
You could take
Um,
3 months of taking steroids too, maybe while you're
yeah,
at
like it exactly. Like it'd have to be 3 months where I'm just like bulking the hell up to be able to accomplish that. There's just
Dude,
no other way.
when you asked the question, for some reason, like the basketball kind of brought me into like this Twilight nightmare where it was just 1-on-5, and I have the basketball at half court, and it's like
Oh,
go shoot a
bro,
three
no
pointer.
way. No one's gonna do that. Like if you're
Yeah,
being guarded by 5 other people, like no way. Like
yeah,
you would just have to be so much taller than them that you can literally just jump over everyone.
yeah.
Yeah. Damn. Huh.
That's a good
Interesting.
question, though.
Yeah. Interesting. Wow. So John might get drafted John might get picked up off the waiver wire as a Dolphins running back because clearly he can play.
I'm either getting drafted in the new 2025 U.S. military
Hmm.
increased age draft or
Or with the
the
Dolphins.
Make-A-Wish Foundation last pick of the draft.
Oh shit, dude. Um, I don't know. Which one do you think you could survive better? A season in the league or a season in the trenches?
Damn, bro, that's another good one. Holy shit. I guess let's go with the assumption like you're just getting put on the field 24/7. Like the coach is like, yeah, you have to play whatever for whatever
Yeah,
reason. Dude, I might have to take my chances in the trenches on that one. Like, bro,
I
I don't
agree.
know,
I think I
man.
could do better in the trenches,
It's
like those
tough.
trenches as opposed to an NFL trench. Damn.
Well, our viewers, sports spectators, let us know which one you think about. We have a
Which
lot
one
of
you could
stuff that
survive?
people give their feedback on in this episode. This was a good one.
Yeah.
But all right, dude,
Yeah,
I
man.
think we're ready to watch these games. I'm super excited to watch this Ravens and Chiefs game.
Yeah, man. I'm excited. I don't know what's happened since I last checked it out and we started recording the episode, but yeah, I'm hype, bro. And then yeah, I'm sure on our next episode we will talk about whether your bets, if you were the smartest guy in the room, or if you were just like literally shooting a 3-pointer from downtown.
All right, people. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you guys next week. Peace out, homies.
Take it easy, guys.